Today, we delve into the weird history of ancient Egypt and the Bible's channel lore. On this episode of Ancient Egypt and the Bible. Every channel on YouTube has a history. Some of these histories can be rather pedestrian or boring. Other channels have an active subscriber community that latches on to certain memes and amplifies and carries them forward. On this channel, we have cultivated a kind, intelligent, and well-read community, but a community that loves channel lore and perpetuates that lore. So, for the benefit of our recent subscribers that haven't watched all our content, let's get into the lore of my channel, Ancient Egypt and the Bible. Popcorn reviews. For those of you who don't know, our popcorn reviews are when I take a video and do a review of it using critical analysis of its history, logic, and biblical fidelity. Now, originally, we did not set out to do this intentionally. It sort of just happened by accident. Let's go back to March 2021, when we were a small channel of about 300 subs. Already, we were trying to build an active and interested user community. At this time, Michael Jones of Inspiring Philosophy published his first version of the Exodus Rediscovered documentary. And there was a lot of hype leading up to that release. Already, an atheist mob had announced it was preparing to pan the documentary. In response, IP had assembled a crack team of 20 apologists to respond to all challenges. Well, as soon as that video had dropped, my community had flooded my inbox asking me if I was going to do a response. Well, asking might be putting that mildly. Demanding that I do a response is probably more accurate. Well, when the video dropped, I was in Vancouver doing a series of job interviews because at the time I was unemployed and running out of money. So when I got home, I was exhausted and hungry, but recognized that the demand for this was so great, I couldn't ignore it either. So I made myself a bowl of popcorn, in other words, my dinner, sat down, and recorded the video that evening. I dropped the review the next morning, and suddenly my channel was infamous. That first day, I immediately lost 50 subs, which for a 300 sub channel was a big deal. Many people even refused to talk to me that first week. But then people slowly realized what I was trying to say. And at that point, people started coming back to my channel in droves. A few days later, Michael contacted me and we had a productive 3-day conversation. And best of all, IP had the integrity to follow the evidence and he took down the video, much to the chagrin of the Associates for Biblical Research and that atheist mob. When IP released his second version of the Exodus documentary, it received rave reviews. So, while our popcorn reviews have maintained their characteristic of analysis based on history, logic, and fidelity to the Bible, our critical reviews have also become synonymous with the eating of popcorn. So much so that many memes have sprouted out surrounding those popcorn reviews, including certain memes regarding my, let's just say, infamous laugh. I'm sorry.
going to try to get composure here.
So, overall, when we do these popcorn reviews, we generally select views that contain bad or faulty thinking, and it doesn't matter if it's from a Christian, an atheist, or an ancient alien theorist. The fact is that bad thinking is bad thinking, and we on the channel try to promote sound thinking and sound biblical methodology. Live stream thumbnails. Okay, our live stream thumbnails have been a bit of mystery to some people. The color of the text and the scarab changes every week, and there's actually no special significance to the color. At the bottom left corner, we have a number of the live stream written in Egyptian hieroglyphs, and that's just something cool that we just do. The scarab is just an identifier to let people know visually that this is a live stream. Now, I had originally drawn that scarab as an illustration for a children's book on the Exodus that my wife and I were going to write, so I reused that drawing here. The titles for the live stream are a bit arbitrary. They could be a play on the titles from the Monday videos, cultural references, or references to current events. Our live streams are held every Friday, and everyone with good intentions is welcome. Our community consists of people from the spectrum of Christian denominations, but also includes Jewish, Muslim, pagan, and even atheists. These live streams serve the community and those who have a genuine desire to learn from an ancient Near Eastern perspective. We try to make the titles for the live streams a bit more tongue-in-cheek than our teaching videos, to indicate that the content on the live streams is going to be a bit more relaxed and light-hearted. Man and Machine Alerts. This harkens back to a year ago when we did a popcorn review titled An Egyptology Reacts to Not Aliens and the Lost Ark, like you've never seen it before. We did a review of the History Channel's Aliens and the Lost Ark. However, the YouTube Content ID system would not permit us to use a shred of A&E Entertainment's content for commentary purposes. So we had to remove all the video content and replace it with stick figures. Some people found that rather hilarious. But to give people incentive to watch this video, we had to add extra content to our review. One of those pieces of graphic content was a 3D model of what ancient alien theorists claim was a mana machine. We took a drawing that they had of that hypothetical machine and turned it into a 3D model using Blender. Now, ancient alien theorists hold that the mana machine was contained within the Ark of the Covenant, and that it was this machine that created both manna that fed the Israelites in the wilderness and could even act as a nuclear bomb. Yes, you heard that right. Food and a bomb in one machine. Shortly after we did that popcorn review, one of the first news releases came out regarding the Mount Ebal Curse amulet. We decided to do a discussion type format with me and my producer talking about the release instead of using a single person format. So, because we decided to use a change in format, we needed to signal to our viewers that there would be a format change. And since the Mount Ebal news release was a bit dodgy, we decided to recycle the mana machine from the popcorn review. So, we took the 3D model of the mana machine, added a Geiger counter sound, and called these news alerts mana machine alerts. These are really news alerts, and our viewers loved it. And that's the origin of the mana machine alerts. Mr. Empty Conjecture. Also from that popcorn review, an Egyptologist reacts to Not Aliens and the Lost Ark like you've never seen it before, we got a second piece of lore. Mr. Empty Conjecture. Mr. Empty Conjecture, or Mr. EC for short, is a sock puppet that was modeled after that guy from the Ancient Aliens series who kept using the empty conjecture or least likely possibility fallacy. Georgios Tsoukalos would always say could be, and that became the soundbite for Mr. EC. We also use Mr. EC in other video reviews where the speaker has used empty conjectures, for example, the popcorn review of David Down. However, never to let good material go unrecycled, we also developed a Mr. Empty Conjecture show, which is a way to introduce our audience to lists of various theories to an open question. The views are synthesized, reduced, and simplified to maximize brevity. Our Monday teaching videos have a target of between 10 to 20 minutes. So each hypothesis will be summarized in typically under 3 minutes. This way, the viewer gets a brief overview of the topic in the shortest time possible. In addition, each view gets a dirty sock rating, because with most of the hypotheses on controversial questions, the certainty of the outcome is not absolutely guaranteed. The dirty sock rating is more or less my non-authoritative opinion on how likely each video seems to be to me. Each view gets at least one dirty sock, and the more dirty socks, the less likely the view is in my albeit subjective and arbitrary estimation. Nevertheless, Mr. EC's purpose is to provide comic relief to topics that are often boring or are, say, heavy or morose. And that is why Mr. EC has become one of the most beloved characters on our channel. Playstones. I'm having trouble getting through this one. This one's just ridiculous. True. Okay, this one is just ridiculous, but we're gonna try to get through this. In response to the fringe idea that the pyramids were electric power stations, some of our subscribers have theorized that Egyptian King Khufu needed that electricity to operate his Playstone, a Bronze Age gaming console styled after the Sony PlayStation. It's an inside joke, and you might hear about it on this channel on occasion. Daddy Falk. This is something that Rob Rowe of Sentinel Apologetics started calling me. And frankly, for the longest time, I didn't actually know what he meant by this, and a lot of subscribers have asked about this. So I asked him what he meant by Daddy Falk, and he gave me this reply that I'm quoting verbatim. Quote, "In regards to the Daddy Falk joke, well, I think you might fall backwards with the way Heiser was called. Not by me, but by people like Ben Stanhope, in a similar manner. It's just something to illustrate an over-the-top affirmation that, insert male scholar here, becomes a somewhat spiritual father figure, like Obi-Wan to Luke, who can guide in a proper way, etc. This is because trust has been built up initially, and that happened to me when you came onto my YouTube and explained to me why the late date is the conservative view, and that I don't need to be agnostic on the issue anymore. That was further solidified when I read your Ark of the Covenant book, along with all the great content you have provided on your YouTube since. Plus, you're a good friend." So, what was Heiser called? Well, Stanhope put it that way. Heiser is my daddy god emperor, rabbi high school girl crush. Alayhi assalam. Quote, "Thank you, Rob, for the short version of this. I really appreciate it." Sound foxes. Following all the ancient aliens nonsense, some of our community on my Discord server started discussing crazy ideas about how the pyramids were built. Some of them had suggested that aliens were using tractor beams and sound technology to move the massive pyramid stones. One of our moderators, Faye of the Duat, suggested fennec foxes might have been involved in the building of the pyramids. The Camillipard then posted that it must have involved some kind of sound technology. Combined, this morphed into the sound foxes. Was this silly? Yes, but it has also become part of our lore. Trash Panda. This one is well known on my Discord server, but occasionally leaks out beyond that. Trash Panda is a chatbot that I programmed for my Discord server. At first, it was just a kind of database to hold stupid things my interlocutors and critics have said in the past. However, as the programming has grown ever more sophisticated, the bot now interacts with conversations. Trash Panda remains a work in progress that is continuously being updated and expanded. Dr. Falk rumors. One of the problems that pulpit ministries often encounter is putting their founder on a pedestal. The minister is elevated to a point where everyone else loses sight of the work itself. I never wanted people to lose sight of the work. And I recognize the danger of developing a cult of personality. So, I started a thread on my Discord server where I would write my own rumors about myself. Some rumors are true, some are false, some are funny, some are ridiculous and silly, and many are self-deprecating. Few of these rumors are ever confirmed or denied. Velociraptor, the music. Perhaps the most common question we get about our lore concerns the music we use on the channel. That has a history that actually predates the channel. In 2015, I was doing some programming work for a small video game company. All of us were doing this for free, and we had no budget at all. To employ a musician to create a soundtrack for the game would have cost more than the entire project combined. So, we tried to do our own music for the game. I volunteered, even though I had no musical training. So, I taught myself basic music theory and learned to compose and play a musical instrument. Now, to my surprise, I discovered I had a talent for composing music. But I had a problem. At the time, I was at a church that if you had musical talent, you were expected to participate in the music ministry of the church. However, I'm not a performer. So when I released my first album in August 2019, 9 months before starting my YouTube channel, I did so under the pseudonym Velociraptor. And some people wonder where the inspiration for Velociraptor and the album's title, Apex Predator, came from. And the answer is that the inspiration for both came from the same little bunny, my pet bunny, Gwenny. Gwenny was an adorable and incredibly soft mini Rex rabbit. She was a really sweet bunny, and we miss her very much. However, Gwenny was an indiscriminate eater. If it could fit in that little mouth of hers, she would try to eat it. And it really didn't matter what it was. She would eat styrofoam and carpet if given the chance. So we had to watch her carefully. Once, we even discovered her rifling through our garbage can where she was eating discarded cocktail shrimp nubs. This was our first glimpse that rabbits could eat meat. But perhaps the weirdest thing we saw her eat took place after a party we had with a few friends. Back then, we collected rocks, minerals, and fossils. And our friends who were from the Philippines had never seen a collection like what we had. So we did a little show and tell. When we packed everything up, we didn't notice that a piece of dinosaur bone had fallen out. In the morning, we discovered that our little bunny had chewed up and ate half the dinosaur bone. She wasn't harmed by her taste for giant reptiles, and after that we quipped that bunnies eating dinosaurs makes them apex predators. And my music found its name. Well, with the COVID pandemic and a church change, my situation also changed. I began my YouTube channel in May 2020, and to avoid copyright restrictions, I used my own music on the channel. For a while, I maintained the pseudonym, but a few months ago, I finally felt comfortable revealing that I am Velocirabbit, since enough people were curious. Much of the music I compose is based upon ancient themes and resonates with ideas of the distant past. For example, for the theme of our videos, we will use my song Lost in the Desert, which is based upon an Egyptian harmonic scale. So that covers most of the lore on our channel. I hope you now understand some of the inside jokes, memes, and lore that has grown up around this channel. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you next time on Ancient Egypt and the Bible.